So, next up in our series of best side hustles for teachers, excuse me, there we go, um, is how to teach English online with no experience. Um, this is something that I am learning about, uh, and I want to share it with you what I've learned because it's a very interesting prospect for you to be able to make some extra money, which we all need these days. So here we go. So essentially, as you look into how to do this, how to teach English online, is you're going to pick a path, you're going to get set up, you're going to get paid, and you're going to repeat that process. We'll talk about these points in more detail. And I'll be linking to someone that I know who has a business around this specifically and who has some great resources too for you to look at. But when you think about picking a path, some ideas that you could offer would be conversational practice, um, where you're, teaching somebody literally like sort of like your day to day basic communication skills. You could, excuse me, look into a more kind of structured tutoring where you're, teaching somebody something more specific that you feel like you have experience in. And another idea would be to offer like business English. So, vocabulary and grammar for when you're in more of a business setting. So, those are just a few examples of what you could be doing. You also want to think about the age group that you would prefer to teach, whether that's K-12 or adults. There's, pros and cons to each one, but, if you are like bottom line looking at earning more money on the side, you want to take that into consideration too. Maybe it's not as important to you to be, choosy about who you're working with. But on the other hand, you might have more experience working with adults than, fifth graders. So that's also something you want to consider as you're looking into this. So, just for a real basic setup, you don't need to go crazy and like certainly don't go out there and spend a lot of money. As you look into starting this side hustle, you just need a really simple setup, a quiet space to make your recordings if you're doing that, or to be meeting online as well. You'll need to have a quiet space. You'll need some kind of a computer with a webcam and a good microphone and potentially headphones that have a mic. Can be very nice for you. Can help block out distractions for you too, especially if you are neurodivergent. So that's just something to think about. And if you don't have like a directly matching type of degree, for example, you didn't major in education, like English education, for example, don't let that stop you because you still have experience. You could think about if you've taught any English language learners, and even if you're teaching other subjects, like I used to teach music to elementary students, and over the years, I taught so many students that were learning English as a second language. So I feel like that gives me a bit of a broad experience for what this would be like. Um, Also, if you've helped to train coworkers or specifically like newcomers to the country, any volunteering roles you might have held or coaching positions, those are things that you could have been potentially, doing some of these sort of soft skills and getting experience with helping somebody learn English along the way. And then As you learn more about this, you can start looking into the TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language Certificate, which again, I'll have some links for you to look more into that later. You can start exploring platforms that you might want to work with. You can start networking with people you know in person and or potentially on LinkedIn, but don't jump into LinkedIn unless you've done your research about how to use it properly, because it is its own separate entity. And even though it might look like social media at first, it's really not. So you really want to do some research before you start networking on there a lot. You can also make and share some flyers locally, and that can be a good way to get started and to start building up your client base. As you are looking for these kinds of roles, be careful not to fall for scams. There are so many out there. Last year or the year before, I was in between jobs. Like, I had left teaching and was looking for side gigs and different things. And it's amazing how convincing some of the scams are. So even if you are like me and you feel like you're very savvy and experienced, just be very cautious and make sure you do your research about any company that you want to start working with, and just trust your gut. Like, if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So look somewhere else. Don't get stuck with something that's not going to treat you right. With that, obviously clarifying how you're getting paid, making sure all of that is straight and clear, is paramount. And again, with that, like, don't get kind of sucked into these like workshops or seminars or things that they're not going to pay you for. I know as teachers, we have to do a lot of professional development, which is not paid extra. So just be careful, because when you're not in a teaching position and you're in sort of the quote unquote, corporate world or nonprofit world, or unless you're salaried, you are supposed to be getting compensated per hour. So don't be volunteering all your time unless you're getting paid. So a quick 7-day start plan, to break it up so it's not overwhelming. The first day you can pick a path. Then the next day you can choose a platform. You can then create a profile on the platform you choose and record your introduction video. You can start either creating a lesson template for yourself to use, or to start building onto one that you find and have permission to use. If you're finding a template like that you have permission to use, just make sure that you're still editing it and making it your own. That's really important. And then research, learn, and practice as you're getting into this new side gig. Teach a demo video, go through a lesson, and then ask a trusted friend or colleague for some honest feedback. And then just keep going through that process, and you'll get better and better and feel, more and more comfortable and confident doing that. So if you'd like to learn more about best side hustles for teachers, definitely download my free resource I'm showing here for you. And it's a map to get you started thinking about possibilities for yourself to earn some side income. So I hope this helped, and I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.